Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, hello everyone, and welcome to ALASC's Spring 2024 Poetry Open Mic Night in celebration of Natural Poetry Month. So, thank you for joining us this evening. We hope you have a good time and enjoy the work that our speakers have prepared for us tonight. I'm Kat. I'm the current events coordinator for ALASC, and we're going to get started. So, our event tonight is structured with the first half of the event having a speaker lineup of individuals who've already signed up to read their work in advance. And then during the second half, we'll have the actual open mic. So any of you in the audience can feel free to step up and share your own work with us. And then if you're just here to listen tonight, that is totally cool too. We're happy to have you here, whether you're a presenter or a participant. And in order for this event to run smoothly, we do have a few ground rules set up. So I'm going to show those. So during this open mic, ALASC is aiming to create a space for open creative expression while also ensuring the safety and well-being of all participants. We ask all participants to share in this space with an open mind and listen respectfully to work of differing modes, beliefs, and perspectives. We also ask presenters to refrain from sharing work with intentionally hateful or harmful content. We reserve the right to expel any presenters or attendees who violate this rule. And to go along with that first rule, if you believe your work contains violent or potentially triggering content, we ask that you provide a warning about this content before you begin to read so that anyone who wishes to step away or mute the presentation is able to do so for their own well-being. This event is being recorded and it's going to be uploaded to ALAC's YouTube channel later. So if you're presenting and you don't want to have your performance included in the final recording, just let me know. And then if you are going to be presenting your work tonight, please feel free to share links to your personal or artist social media accounts if you have one. And then if you choose to follow anyone or click on those links, just know that ALASC is not affiliated with and we don't endorse the content contained in those links. So follow people at your own risk. Okay. So to get started, again, we have the structured speaker lineup. We're going to have Shannon Broden, Leff, Quarry Pak, and Kevin Shlosberg, and then I will wrap up our speaker lineup. So first up, we have Shannon. Shannon started writing poems and short stories since elementary school, but ultimately gravitated toward short stories. It wasn't until going to undergraduate school, hoping to get a BA in English with an emphasis in short stories, that she found the program wasn't conducive to writing the stories she hoped to tell, and she switched to an emphasis in poetry. She also has a BA in radio TV, both from Eastern Washington University. Additionally, Shannon earned an MA in Communications from California State University, Fullerton. This is her second year in the SJSU MLAS program, and she currently serves as web coordinator for the ALASC chapter. And then I'm going to switch over to another document so I can show Shannon's poems on screen.
Thank you, Kat.
Okay. And then Shannon, you can start reading whenever you're ready.
Okay. Pleasure to meet y'all. And I decided to take this challenge when I knew Kat was putting this together to just try to write some stuff and de-stress a little. I truthfully hadn't written anything in a while, so hope you have a little fun with me on some of these. Genreification is the name of the first one. Some people say it's the solution to Dewey, that filing things by number codes is all screwy. Put things together in common themes, because that's how people tend to think of things. However, this may not be as clear-cut as it seems. Some people may see items as being two different things. So, do you put a copy in each filing area, creating duplication? Possibly hysteria. There may never be one simple solution. Approach may vary by institution. What matters is people finding what they need. To get information, relax, and read.
Thank you, Shannon.
Second, sands of time. Sometimes I wish that I could walk right back across the distant sands of time and ask exactly why you made the choices you did that made life what it is. Was that which you endured worth the winds that occurred? Would you change anything? Perhaps repeat something? Is the tale of your life worth all the sacrifice? Last one, taking us back a little lighthearted. This one is TBR Mountain. Trying to decide what comes next from my TBR pile, knowing I'd been slammed, so it's been a while. A mountain of spines staring right back at me, afraid if I grab wrong, it'll collapse completely. Then where would I be? Maybe it'd be easier to choose what comes next if they're all strewn around on the floor in a mess. Maybe it would force me to have to reprioritize, or perhaps stack them, all random, to reorganize. What approach should I take? I just might be overthinking all of this. Each minute deciding are stories I missed. I think I'll just go for the very top one. Perhaps take chances and see if it's any fun. And forget the recommendations. But if I get partway through and do not like it, it is my fault for not checking if it's a hit. Then I really will have wasted my time for ignoring all of the available signs. So what should I do? Trying to decide what comes next for my TBR pile. Knowing I've been slammed, so it's been a while. A mountain of spines staring right back at me. Afraid if I grab wrong, it will collapse completely. Then where would I be? Thank you
All right.
much.
Thank you, Shannon. Wonderful reading. Next up, we have Erica. Erica began the MLIS program in spring 2023, focusing on archives and digital curation. Before starting at SJSU, she was an eviction defense lawyer in the Boston area. Erica loves watching Star Trek, horror movies, and YouTube videos, listening to Taylor Swift, and playing video games. She has never read her poetry before. Currently, she lives with her husband and dog in central Massachusetts. Thank you for being here tonight, Erica. Let me get your poems up.
And thank you for hosting, Kat.
Of course. Take it away when you're ready.
Okay. This is a 3-part poem that I wrote in 2011, 2013, and 2022 about my relationship. Evergreen. It's only been 2 months since we met. I want to spout 1,000 cliches. I think my organs could burst from excitement. My heart would go first. Do I feel my blood rushing? I might be losing my breath. Is my childhood asthma coming back, spurred on by your mere existence? The tattoo artist's needle did not make me feel as much emotion as you do. Full sleeves in vivid color could not come close. It is not that you bring me pain, rather, you bring me so much joy that my body can barely contain it. It makes me terrified. I know I can trust you, but do I know if I can trust you? I want to. I need to. My brain screams that you are that mythical creature, a dragon phoenix hybrid, the one. I don't know what I am supposed to do. I could fall apart, bones and sinew on the floor from all the thoughts in my mind. One day, I want to show you this and say, see, I've always felt this way. I always will. And evergreen addendum. It's only been 1 year, 5 months, 23 days since we met. I know I must have sounded crazy. Maybe if I wrote that now, it wouldn't seem so odd. I could have made a mistake, looked back and felt my face flush. I could have been exaggerating. We could have been long gone. But I know that it's not hyperbole. I know that I was right. I wasn't just the crazy girl. I was so precise. That was before we'd fought and I'd cried and everything felt terrible. That's only made me love you more. I cannot always express myself. I can be so uncouth. But I know what I feel, and what I feel is devotion. See, I've always felt this way. I always will. Evergreen addendum. Well, it's been a while. I wrote Evergreen when we had been together 2 months. Evergreen addendum after a year and a half. It's been almost 11 years now, married for 7. I barely remember the me I was when I wrote those poems. The me in college, before law school, before the many moves. It's funny that I knew back then what I know now. I don't understand how I was so sure, but here we are. I'm still excited to see you, even though I see you every day. See? I've always felt this way. I always will. And now I have a couple of shorter poems that I wrote, like just in the past couple of days, because I felt really inspired. I am a collection. I am a collection of special interests, trying to find a place that will accept me, where I don't have to suffer through a 9-to-5 workday that will kill me in the end. And my last poem is called My Self-Awareness. My self-awareness is a party trick that shocks and awes the masses. She can't possibly be like that all the time, can she? Oh, you have no idea. No clue what goes through my head all day, constantly. It never ends. When will it end? Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. Okay, next we have Quarry Pak. Quarry was born in Los Angeles and lives in Richmond, California. She began the MLIS program in January 2023 and currently works at UC Berkeley. She has been a carnival worker, office temp, and pizzeria host, as well as a school teacher, social worker, and supervisor.
Thanks, Kat. I
Of
pulled out
course.
some vintage writing, but this one's fresh. It's newborn kittens. So
Yes.
it's just amazing how baby animals, or babies, I guess, too, will freeze time, but also make you aware of time passing. So this form is called a shijo. It's a Korean form similar to tanka or haiku. So kitten shijo. Mama grew full eclipse moon, her kittens born crying for warmth. Her heart split into 5 in a box in the corner of her home office. She cleans them, feeds them, and they play around her, open eyes, and grow. Full disclosure, I started that with an AI bot, but then it was like totally different because I hated it. This one was from my time in graduate school in another program in social work. And I also took poetry classes because they were not an extra cost at my program. So it's called Shelter. A junior level political staffer cut the ribbon for the grand opening of the family shelter, a block from the house of chicken and waffles. Set decorators built a dozen bunk beds. Interns painted the wood frames purple. Stylists dyed and rinsed the women's hair. The local florist arranged lilies for the mothers. Volunteers from the movie studio fixed fences, planted trees, and ate donated day-old bagels. Next door, old ladies launched peace prayers by turns day and night into a megaphone, tethered to a record player spinning static as the members of their cult dwindled. Inspectors walked down the back stairs and signed off on the safety of the building. And then I decided to revive a Barbie poem because she's having a moment. It's about 10 years ago because it says tweets. It's kind of ages itself. But a friend of mine used to curate an altered Barbie art show in San Francisco every year, and there was an accompanying poetry reading. So this was kind of fun for the time and still timely, I guess. Barbie tweets the blues, life in mint in the box conditions. Is it possible to wake up disgusted at yourself? Daylight savings time, and I don't know where my children are. Fall is here. My mint is overgrown, but my basil is dying. Where did my other heel go? Last night I dreamt I was talking baseball on Swedish radio. I'd rather be a Green Knight than a female eunuch, hashtag Germaine Greer. That man in the Walgreens parking lot offered to wash my windows, and I said, next time, and I immediately regretted it. Is it possible to be more disgusted with yourself? I'm only a temp who works the switchblade, the minimum security prison of your mind. Who remembers the 5th of November? Believe in false eyelashes and always have your nails sharpened. I apologize for the long email, but I don't want to talk to you. Lying with the enemy is a false proposition. My dream house takes damn too long to clean. I eat on paper plate. Looking for your birth mother. Our DNA is in the mail. Too many bread lines, not enough soup kitchens to volunteer in. I'd rather be a star quarterback than a K-pop star. The first tarot card I pulled was the hangman, so I left. The bears are hungry and the bulls are losing control. The good news is that the refrigerator boxes are getting bigger. That dog needs to stop barking. I can't hear the trains. Still waiting for my radical acceptance letter, but I'll take a bus ticket home. Thanks, y'all. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Quarry. Next up, we have Kevin Shlosberg. Once upon a time, Kevin graduated from Rutgers University with a degree in English, concentrations in creative writing and poetry. He got serious about it for a while and was published here and there, but likely nowhere you've ever heard of. More recently, he's gone the self-publishing route. A bookman by trade, he's in his second year in SJSU's MLIS program. With a strong background in customer service, he intends to pursue public librarianship after graduation. He still writes the occasional poem, and we're glad that he does.
Thanks for having me. And I just want to say, Quarry, I regret that I have to follow you. That was really great. This first one's called Why I Couldn't Run Without Music. I try to run like 2-3 times a week, and it just gets the juices flowing. Something really settling about it. This one's Why I Couldn't Run Without Music. Something about the beat making space for a lone riff reverberating lets the mind mud settle. Every repetition of the notes pulling at a string inside, like I'm a package being unwrapped. Catching the hint of that feeling with every measure and step, the churn of exhaustion, confusion, separateness, oneness, rises in elation and eye mist, like a high school chem carbonated experiment bubbling over. The beat returns, and I'm time's arrow running, riding time's churn and swell. I don't know what it is. I lift my eyes above rooftops to judge storm clouds, see whether to pick up the pace, to beat the weather. But if it rains, and I lift my hood. The drops will camouflage the tears pulled by crow call and siren. There's a rainbow across the valley. Some say God's promise. Instead, I pick lint from my navel and greet the worm on the asphalt, out for some air. And this next one's called Meditation. And I think it's self-explanatory. I wrote it a number of years ago, but I probably could have written it last night. Meditation. There are many people inside my head. I totter with each heartbeat. A ghost tenant ready to vacate, pending collapse of rickety bone. I shift my trunk 2 degrees forward to settle in this wind. Close to witnessing the moment outside, the running plumbing and hum of early commerce. A clever bugger, I discover ego burrowed behind my left eye socket. In the space of a breath, the third mind begins its bubbling show. The eye latches to memory, bucolic hallucinations, plans, and regrets. Every painting the ribcage of mortality. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. All right, and then last up in our speaker lineup is me. I self-describe myself as a writer, reader, artist, dreamer, and I started writing poetry in late middle school as a natural transition from the extremely cringy songs that I was writing throughout elementary school. And then I went on to major in English with an emphasis in creative writing during undergrad. I've written many different mediums throughout my life, but poetry was really the love of my undergraduate career. And I specialized in poetry and wrote 4 chapbooks over the course of my 3 years in undergrad. Most of that work wasn't published, and I had some negative publication experiences, so this is my first time presenting my work since undergrad. And I hope you all have a good time tonight listening to us read. So my first poem here is what I jokingly call an epic poem. It is a lot longer than the poems everyone else has read so far. And this is one of the poems that I wrote for my final poetry portfolio at the end of my undergrad experience. And I like to describe it as a manifesto on my name. So without further ado, this is Given and Taken. When you're in the womb, a cluster of cells siphoning life off of whatever your mother feeds herself, and thereby you don't get to choose your name. Sure, if you're old enough to kick by the time they start cycling through the list of undesirables, you might be able to express some dissatisfaction, but chances are mom will just pat her belly and laugh, there, because she's had a name in mind years before you were ever conceived, and no amount of kicking will convey your annoyance or change her mind. Let's be real. You don't have the consciousness to even hate your name at this point anyway. It's not until you're old enough to wonder, what's in a name? Observe the way we become what we're called and research the etymology of yourself. I'm called Catherine, which apparently means pure. Pure. What a loaded word. Not to mention, I share this stupid moniker with an abundance of Catherines, which is no surprise since it was within the top 100 most popular girl names in 2000, and mom picked it because of its popularity, because she wanted to be able to find my name on tacky souvenir keychains, and mostly because she's obsessed with the British royal family. Doesn't she know Queen Catherine of Valois was widowed at 20? Another 3 Catherines were married to that monster Henry VIII, and Catherine of Braganza was treated like her husband's side hoe while he paraded around with an entourage of mistresses. I mean, shit. No wonder I have zero luck in love and I'm obsessed with star-crossed love stories. I'll take that over being beheaded like Catherine Howard, though. Catherine is so damn cookie cutter. I went to school with 5 other Catherines up until college. How do you amount to anything when you're Catherine T, and she's Catherine S, and she's Catherine N, and she's Catherine C, and she's Catherine C? Well, I admit the 2 Catherines with the exact same first and last name had it way worse than me. The liberation of slicing off 6 letters was long overdue by the time I finally came around to calling myself Cat. Mom was scandalized. Cat? What a crude, childish, indelicate name. Didn't I know, she irately inquired, that Catherine is noble, refined, and queenly? Yes, Mom, I do know. I know it very well, and that's exactly why I hate the name. I'm sorry I'm not the daughter you wanted. I'm sorry I don't want to be suffocated in pinks and purples. I'm sorry I'm not content with playing the prim princess who sits with her hands folded in her lap and politely waits for Prince Charming to come and whisk her away. I can't help but want to tear off my dress and jump out the castle window and axe off my hair with a sword, running around in the forest, following the stars of my own sky. Catherine is a pristine white box with 4 walls that keep closing in until I'm claustrophobically caged in a corset of letters. But Cat is a pair of eternally curious eyes slipping between amber-tinted, songlit spaces in search of secrets, relishing the wind brushing her back and the stars beneath her feet. Rebellious, playful, feline, finally me. Mom led a counter-rebellion against my rebellion for the first few years. Cat, my friends would cry as they stepped inside my house and hugged me in greeting. The sound of that name would make Mom come running, looming just behind me like a seething cumulonimbus cloud. Don't call her that, she'd bark as my poor friends looked frantically between me and her, trying to decide whether to support my redefinition of myself or appease the parental authority figure fuming at them. Of course, things got even better when my uncle started dating a white woman named Catherine, and another Catherine became the Duchess of Cambridge. See? 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 Why can't you be like them? Mom asked. Why? 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 I said. I'm not interested in whitewashing myself or aspiring to become one of the 5 million European royals already named Catherine. But Catherine won't just go away, even if I want her to. Unfortunately, Mom has a point. Cat is not always respectable, not always presentable for polite company. Catherine holds her tongue and smiles delicately and obeys the rules and never makes waves. Cat says, fuck authority, and sings from rooftops and dances like a sparkler and makes love to the moon. So still, I paste a smile onto my face and step into the skin of Catherine when I must. At family gatherings, at job interviews and business meetings, in certain classrooms into certain faces, on my resume, diplomas, ID cards, and birth certificate. I will always carry Catherine inside me, so I can pull her out and put her on for the world to see. But in private, among my friends and lovers in art, and alone with my own mind, Cat comes forth, glittering more brilliantly than Catherine ever could. Call me Catherine, if you must, but recognize the brick wall you're building between us, the dysmorphic disgust that seizes my head to toe, shuddering through me as I bite back the impulse to shout, that's not my name, because, well, it is. At least, it's the name Mom chose for me. But it's not my name. How else do I explain the clinical dissociation, the feeling of staring at Catherine Lily Tang as if she's my body snatcher, floating in a massive green fluid-filled test tube? Oh yes, my middle name is Lily. Almost as awful as Catherine, isn't it? Catherine Lily Tang is like a ghost in a starched floral dress with a tight, high collar. Still, it could have been worse, I guess. Mom's obsession with flowers only complements her addiction to the British nobility, so alternatively, I could have been Violet, Daisy, or Rose. Sure, I like flowers when they sit snugly in their soil and not when they're handed to me in a murder bouquet. And I've called myself a flower before, but only because I'm perpetually stretching toward the sun and thrive most in nature. I don't want to be a human flower, prized only for my transient beauty, plucked from my roots and imprisoned in a jar to die. I could go by my Chinese name instead. Hui Zhi, Hui Zhi. Oh, what a beautiful sound. Much better than the cacophony that is Catherine. Dad gave me this name, not Mom. The difference is profound. It means wise grass. In my Chinese classrooms full of May, this and that, beautiful orchids and virtuous jade and pious plums, there I was, an intelligent patch of grass, an outlier among the other feminine names. Maybe I was born Catherine Lily Tang, but Cat Huizhi Tang is my name. Thank you. So that concludes my super long poem. And then to wrap up, I just have a few shorter poems. I really liked writing haikus when I first got into writing poetry. So here I have a haiku that I'm going to share. It's called Meta and pretty self-explanatory. I'm like vanilla, simple yet satisfying. Call me a haiku. The next one is technically also a haiku, and I forgot to explain earlier, but for those who are not familiar with the haiku form, it's a Japanese form of poetry that has 3 lines, and the first line has 5 syllables, the second one has 7, and the last one also has 5. This one is sort of a haiku and also a whiteout poem at the same time, as you can see, and also pretty self-explanatory. So it's called Haiku -5. Am I an epiphany unseen earlier? And I don't remember the poem that I actually whited out to make this, but it was someone else's poem. And my last one is a tanka, which is a form sort of related to the haiku. So it's like a haiku, but at the end it has 2 extra 7-syllable lines. And this one is called Spring Fashion. It feels perfectly fitting for the season right now. So spring, the season of antihistamines never working, cosplaying Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer 8 months too early. Vogue, right? And that concludes our speaker lineup for tonight. Thank you everyone for listening to our structured speaker lineup. And we're going to move on to the open mic now. So the floor is now open. If you want to share your work, you can go ahead and raise your hand or let us know in the chat, and then we'll give you the okay to go ahead and read. And then before we go ahead and do that, I just want to give a reminder about the ground rules. We are trying to create a safe space, so just make sure you abide by our rules. Thank you. So does anyone want to share their work?
Well, actually, I'll come up. If no one else was going to come up, then I was like, okay, I'll do it. Out of curiosity, how many showcases, how many works can you actually do for your presentation?
For the open mic?
Yeah.
We really don't have a limitation, so whatever you feel comfortable sharing, it's totally up to you.
Okay, so if you don't mind, if it's okay with you, can I actually share 2 works? One is shorter than the other. I'm just gonna let you know.
Of course. Did
Yeah.
you need to share your screen?
Actually, no, don't worry. I have it memorized.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is actually a parody. I usually do parodies when I actually rhyme. So I would take songs and I would parody them to make them about contemporary issues. How many of you are familiar with the song Autumn Leaves? Maybe, okay, good. Maybe a few of you are. Okay, so I wrote a parody song of Autumn Leaves. It's called Chuck E. Cheese. The Chuck E. Cheese, it has a dance floor. The Chuck E. Cheese, I hate it so. They seize the bins of summer tokens, the ticket strands I used to hold. They took the band away, and now they're gone. Soon I'll hear the birthday song, but I miss it most of all. I'm crying. Man, Chuck E. Cheese stopped it all. And that's my first one. My second one is actually also a parody of one of the songs from a popular musical called Bye Bye Birdie. The song is Put on a Happy Face, but I took it and I renamed it Shut Up and Mask Your Face because this was during the time of COVID and I decided to actually come up with this song. Anyway, virus is gonna clear up. Shut up and mask your face. Put on some gloves and shield up. Shut up and mask your face. Take down the Q and non-conspiracies. It's full of bile. You look so dumb and we look bad and it's starting to pile. Check out the present outlook. Tuck in that noble chin. Wipe down your phone and mouse good. Stack lots of TP, friend. Hand spray Lysol all over the place. Just shut up and mask your face. Virus is gonna clear up. Shut up and mask your face. Put on some gloves and shield up. Shut up and mask your face. I know we're feeling cross and bickerish and sick of lies. Get some banana splits and licorice and it will fly. I knew a man so loony, he never masked in weeks. He wouldn't listen, he tweets, Fauci's a mean old thing. So spray Lysol all over the place. Just shut up and mask your face. Yeah. Shut up and mask your face. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Charity. That was amazing.
You're welcome.
All right, so I'll ask one more time if anyone else wants to share, but I think we probably don't have anyone else who wants to share. But last call, anyone else have any work that you want to read? Although I think Charity set like a pretty high bar to swallow. Okay. So I think that wraps up all the speakers we have for tonight. And thank you so much to everyone for coming. I hope you had a good time because I did listening to everyone. If you have a moment, please fill out the feedback form that we have to let us know what you thought of the event and how we can improve it, or if you're interested in, having us hold these event again in the future. So Rebecca will put the link to that in our chat. And again, if you could fill it out, that'd be super great. Thank you everyone for coming and have a good rest of your night. Bye everyone.
Thanks, Kat.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks
Thank
for
you very
organizing.
much.
That was amazing. I'll see you later. See y'all around.
Bye. Thank
See
you very
you.
much.
Thank you.